Welcome to the Choir Directors Academy on this evening. This evening, for those of you who are watching on Facebook and for those of you on YouTube, just hello. I got to stop doing that because then that kind of leaves you out of the conversation. But thank you for joining me on tonight. We had a great session on last week talking about 5 things that a music leader should do. And guess what? 5 more things popped up. And I think I'm going to do a 3-part series. And after that, we're going to move on to something else. Let's get started. Let's just recap what we did last week. Now, 5 things from last week that we talked about was number 1, as a music leader, you should seek God's direction for you. We talked about how you seek God to find out how he wants you to take the choir, whether, whichever way he wants you to take your show choir, recordings, competition, whatever it is. Number 2, we said that you should confer with your leader. Make sure you have a clear understanding with your leader. Okay? Please. We don't want fighting and disruption in the department. Make sure that, whatever you plan to do, and generally, I will say this, generally what God gives you to do will be in sync with your leader, because I'm actually conferring with your leader should be number 1. Because you're talking to them. Well, they're interchangeable. Seeking God and talking to your leader, those really should be together, because you want to know what their expectations are, and then God will give you how to fulfill what those expectations are, if that makes sense. Number 3, observe the people that you are going to be over. Do not make abrupt changes when you come in. Sit back and observe. See what you have to work with, okay, before you start dismantling everybody and whatever. Do that. That's important. Number 4, and that kind of ties into this, avoid abrupt changes and abrasiveness. Don't make that mistake a lot of people do when they take over department. They're very abrasive, very mean, very, don't do that. Just, chill and see what you got first. And then the last one I had is said, be prepared to deal with confrontation and disgruntled workers. Well, they are workers, even though they're volunteers, but they are workers. And you just be prepared for that, because with anything, when you come in and take over, people are just not gonna, they just disgruntled. I don't know. People just do not like change. Hey, Stefan, people just do not like change. So we have to be prepared for that. And we have to learn not to take it personally. That's the main thing. I really had to learn not to take it personally. It is not me per se. It's just people, as a rule of thumb, people just have a problem with change. They haven't learned how to adapt to change. They want it this way. This is the way it's always been done. This is the way it's supposed to be done. Now, and it may be that case, but there's always a better way to do something. We think about what Apollos, he was an eloquent speaker over there. I believe it was it Acts or Romans, one of them. Well, anyway, I can't remember off the top of my head, but I know that it was Aquila and Priscilla who also worked with the Apostle Paul in teaching, and they heard Apollos, who was an excellent orator, but he only knew the word up, or he only taught up to John's baptism, but then Aquila and Priscilla came in and showed him a more excellent way. And that's how you have to kind of, people don't look at it that way. It's just like, this is the way it is and whatever. But there's always a better way to do something, a more efficient way. And I think as directors, yes, we do hold on to the traditional, but we also need to learn how to bridge the gap between the old and the new. Hi, Jeffrey. Thanks for watching. Stefan said, it's so hard not to keep your feelings involved when you love what you do. Exactly. And you know what? It is, because that was my problem when I first started, was you're so emotional. You just like, you know what? But, and I understand that music is an emotional art form. Okay. But you have to learn, just like we say, the separation of church and state. You will mature to the point where you're able to separate your feelings from the job, because you can't, if you you will be defeated too much. If you understand what I'm saying, case in point, when I started with the choir, and I don't mean to say like I got it all together. No, but these are just the things that I learned when I first started. I took everything personal. I took when the altos, when I would teach them the song, and it's hard. I'm not saying that it is. But it's hard when you teach a song in rehearsal, you go over and you put your heart and soul in it, and then they get up on Sunday morning and they sing like they have no clue what you ever said. That is hurtful, and it is hard when you first start not to get upset, because you automatically, you show it on your face. If you like me, you showed it on your face, your disgust and your disappointment in that the song did not come out right. But then as you mature in the role, Stefan, as you mature in the role, then you will get to the point where you realize I did my best. This has nothing to do with me. I did my job. Okay. And that's how I look at it now. When the choir sings, when they sing, they rarely mess up. But when they do mess up, I've learned how to disconnect myself to the point that I did my job. Now, if you mess this up, that's on you. I did my job. And you know what? Over the years, I've worked with the choir, and we sang out in public. I've done a lot of different things. So then people began to see that this girl puts her time in when she does the job. It was them. It got to the point where they can look at the choir and say, well, they weren't paying attention because I knew where she was going when they did this. And they weren't paying. They were out of tune. They wasn't listening to her. I heard them. I have that in the audience, because when I teach, I'm very open. My choir rehearsals, there's other people sitting in there. So they know what I'm doing. And that kind of like took the pressure off of me. And I stopped looking at it like I'm a failure. That's what we do. We are our own worst critics. Because what we think is so devastating, especially, and I'm talking choir directors, sometimes we just like, oh my God, my reputation. And the people sitting there like, it wasn't that bad to me. And I know we take it relative, even if somebody who is versed in music, we still kind of like, when they tell you, oh, you did a good job, what are you worried about? It's not that thing. And you sitting there like, yeah, right. But really, it's really not as bad as we think it is. It's just, that's just how it is. But yeah, as you get used to it and as you mature, you will get to the point where, you just realize I did my job. If it's wrong, hey, it's nothing I can do, And once you get to that point, it'll be much better. Hey, Sister Jack. Right. And I get it, Stefan. I mean, we all kind of do that. My mom's on here. She was a choir director. We all we've all done it, but as you grow and you mature and you learn, then it gets to the point, you learn how to separate your emotions. I got a job to do. We're going to get this job done. If it falls, okay, then we'll switch and go to something else. Because there have been times that I switch, if we start, you get to the point, well, when you start a song, and if the song is not right, you immediately switch. Some songs, I find another song, if I'm in that key, just say I'm in E flat and we start out singing one song and it doesn't come out right, then I might switch to something that I know is real good. I'll do something in the music and we'll change, and then I'll go to something else. You learn how to do that, just adapt and move and whatever. Because you know what? People allow emotions and things to get involved. And most of the time when you're leading a group of people, they're going to be more emotional than you. So they react to whatever you do. And if you get flustered and frustrated in what you're doing, and I mean, I hope I'm not coming across condescendingly, but they react to that. And some people do it on purpose, and some people just, I don't know. People come in all kinds of shape, forms, and fashions. So we get a little, whatever, but learn how to separate that. And when you do, you'll feel better. Sister Jack says, I always tell my choir, if I'm smiling, we crash. If my face is frowned up or looking ugly, y'all singing. Which, actually, I'm the opposite. I have this thing that, see, we all different. Stefan, we're all different. So it's just a way. I can just, oh my God. See, because then my choir would be confused. Because when I'm smiling, and I'm doing this, they know, okay, you got it going on. And when I'm looking, I have this thing, the state choir knows, I cross my eyes when they, it's just like, oh, and they know, oh my God, I missed it, we all have our different ways, but whatever works to help you just separate yourself emotionally from what you're doing, and it'll be okay. Now, let me get to the new 5 things, and then we'll be on our way. Is number 6. Do not vent on the choir. Deal with your issue. Choir rehearsal is not the place for you to get your Uzi out and just mow everybody down. A choir rehearsal is not because remember, the choir members have no idea what kind of day you had today when you go to choir rehearsal. So it is not your job to come in there and you snapping off and they looking at you like, what in the whole world is this? You got to learn how to do it. I used to do it. I used to do it, and I look back on myself. I'm like, oh my God, this is so bad. But one thing about it, my mom, who became the president, she was the director of what they call emeritus, and she became the president. She would pull me in the office. She said, you was a little rough to them tonight. You need to, she was like, you need to pull it in because you was a little rough. I don't know what's going on, but you was a little, and sometimes the pastor would tell me, you was a little rough tonight, and I would get, I would get so flustered and I would just be taken, and they looking at me like, we had a bad day too. You have to think, we all are volunteers, right? But it takes a lot to be the director, but it also takes a lot to be the student. Okay, so they're coming from work, they're tired, they're hungry, they're irritated, but they had enough Jesus in them to come to choir rehearsal. So you don't know what people are going through. They don't know what you're going through, but they expect us as leaders to be a couple of spiritual levels above them so that we would know how to govern ourselves and not take things, not take things out. And that's what I'm saying. Once you learn how to separate yourself emotionally from the job, and it's not easy, because even now, as myself being a more mature directress, I still have to separate. You know why? Because, and I'm transparent here. I'm being honest. I don't hide anything. I don't hide myself. That's why a lot of people don't tell me their secrets, because I don't hide myself. Now, if you tell me a secret, this is just a sidebar, y'all. If you tell me a secret, I'm going to tell you right off the bat. If it's a matter of life and death, I'm not going to keep it. But if it's not life and death, chances are you're going to tell me and it's going to go right back out of my mind because you told me that it was a secret. You tell me not to tell nobody. So I won't remember because that's what you said. But anyway, back to what I'm talking about. Don't vent on the choir. Don't vent on the choir. Don't take your stuff out. Whatever. You got to learn that, whoever caused the problem, that's who you take aim. You deal with that person. Don't bring it in. Don't bring that spirit in there, because you know what? You're the leader. So you're the one that's got to pray. A lot of times, the reason I say that is, all right, Professor. Sometimes when you come to choir rehearsal, you're the one that's got to pray everybody up. So if you coming in down and whatever, and they're down, we're not going to do too much. But you as a leader, you're going to have to be able to pull yourself up out of this and do your job. Pray. Sometimes in my choir rehearsal, I had to pray them up. I had to get the Bible out. I had to talk to them. I had to build them up. And then we only have 5-10 minutes for rehearsal. Sometimes you have to do that. Sometimes it turns into a praise break. I love those. When you sing a song and the choir go in and everybody go in, that's great. But like I said, as a leader, you don't use the choir as your whipping girls and whipping boys. Don't do that. You don't want to come off as a leader, because then you make the choir tired of you. And then your attendance would go down. They get the point. If every time they come to choir rehearsal, you're doing that, I'm not coming. I'm honest. And I've been part of a lot of choirs. When that choir director always coming in there with an attitude and stuff, I ain't coming. I'm just not. And so if and one thing we have to learn is, however we were treated, we should know that when we get an authority, that we don't act the same way, because we already know what that's like. Okay, let me move on before I start a whole nother lesson. Number 7, be consistent. Okay, be consistent. If you make them warm up one week, make them warm up every week. You don't want to have them to warm up on a song this week, and then next week they come in and you want to get them in a pattern or a ritual, so to speak, that they know. You want it to become innate. So if you warm up, always warm up with something, and that'll become part of the process. So when they come to choir rehearsal, you do have your days where it may be a spontaneous praise or something, or something. But basically, we follow a systematic format. You want them to be accustomed to that so they know. People like to do things that are familiar. Sometimes, they like to shake it up a little bit. But basically, you kind of want to know which way we're going. And so be consistent. If you demand excellence, keep it on that level. Don't have them doing great things. You know what I'm saying? Great and all wonderful. And then the next week you don't care. Once you set the bar, set a bar that is attainable for them. Once they reach that, raise it up a little bit more. Constantly stair-stepping up to greatness. You want to do that. Be consistent. And even in your attitude, in your ways, in your teachings, in how you deliver and how you teach the songs. Be consistent. You understand? Be consistent. And I think, I just remember my other point back to the first one when it says, about the choir. I said separate emotions. How I react to a choir depends upon that choir. Like my own church choir, with them I expect to do less than I do, the state choir or another choir that I might be dealing with. Case in point, because the choir that I manage at church, they've won awards. They won competitions. They won national, they won How Sweet the Sound. They won all these different things. So I don't expect my choir rehearsal to be that hard. My choir rehearsals with my own personal choir at the church. And they're not my choir, but I'm saying my as far as in my church where I fellowship. My choir rehearsals are really no more than 20 minutes because I give them the music ahead of time. I text them. I send out a mass text. This is what we're rehearsing. This is where you find it. This is who it's by. This is what we're going over. So when I come to rehearsal, they already rehearsed it. They already practiced. I've taught each of them how to hear your voice, whether you use soprano, alto, and tenor. So when I come in there, I go over 4 songs in 20, 25 minutes. I'm done. Okay. Whereas if I'm dealing with another choir that's not up that level, it may take longer. So that's why I'm saying when you have to be at a certain spiritual level, and then you don't want to vent. You want to know your choir that you're dealing with and know how to address them. Okay. Back to number 8. This is something that most directors don't do, and you really need to do this. We try to be super people, but you can't do it. Get refreshed. You are not a robot. Vacation. Can I say that again? VACATION. Vacation. You need them. God is not gonna, he's not gonna wipe you out because you don't go on vacation. You have to take a break. You have to. You have to take a break. Nobody, even God took a break. Come on now. God took a break. He's God. The Bible said he don't slumber nor sleep. He always awake. But even he took a break on the 7th day. So if God, the almighty creator, took a break, who are we as humans? We can't even stay up 8 hours straight without going to sleep. You know what I'm saying? We wear ourselves out. And sometimes we think that we're not going to be that leader, or, we're failing, or whatever. No, you're going to end up sick beyond what you intend to be. Because once you break these bodies down and don't get your rest, it's hard to rebound. And you don't want to do that. You don't want to be, when we leave the music industry as directors and directresses, we want to do it because we want to be emeritised, because we want to do something else, not because sickness has taken over and I can't do what I would enjoy doing. When I leave from being a choir director or the state music president or whatever I'm doing, I want to do it because it's time. There's another level that God's got me to go on, and it's time. I was able to do all of the things that I wanted to do. You are not a failure if you take vacations. You need to take time away and get away. Everybody, especially people in leadership, even those who are not in leadership, everybody needs a break. And that is something that we as music leaders should do, because sometimes we get stagnant as music leaders. We get to the point we cycling and sometimes you and I think some of us, even in the audience, we have gotten to the point where we sing the same songs over and over. You're tired. You need to get a break. You need to go somewhere and hear something different. Even if it's, sometimes once a year, I go to a lot of different concerts, featuring different stuff, because I just like the orchestra and the big band sound and stuff like that. And I love when it's mixed with the choir and they end the song on that big band sound. I love that. Even with myself, I like to go to the Chicago Symphony Orchestra or the Philharmonic Orchestra or somebody and go listen to them, something different. And it's refreshing to see others who enjoy music the way you do, to see them perform. And it refreshes you. You have to go and hear somebody else. If I go to a gospel concert, I'm going to somebody like Richard Smallwood or somebody of that level that is like genius at what they're doing, to refresh my spirit, my musical side. You need to be refreshed. You need to hear somebody else. You can't consistently do a job and not catch a break or take a break. All right. There's nothing wrong with that. Always do that, because you reach burnout, and that also leads to frustration, which also leads to you coming in there snapping off on folks because you're tired. You're really tired. You're worn out. You're frustrated. You got all these things going on. So take breaks, even if it's just a weekend. Even if you can't get away for 2 weeks, then do a week. Do a weekend. Do something. Get a break in there. You'd be surprised. Even during your work day, it's not good for us to work straight through and not take a break. It's not good. And I know sometimes we get busy on cycles and we have to do it. And I do it sometimes. But when I'm not in my busy season, I get out and I go walk. And sometimes, any of you that are connected to my wall, you go there and you see me walking along the lakefront, showing where I'm walking or whatever. It's just good to get away. Number 9, be mentored by someone, and not necessarily someone that's popular and, all fantastic and anything like that. A lot of times the unsung heroes make the best mentors, the ones that are not in the lights and all of that. They really have a deep wisdom that you can benefit from. And you can grow faster, because by them not being so much in the light, they don't have everybody grabbing at them. They can spend more time with you and teach you concepts that you may not get if you around somebody that is more renowned, if you understand what I'm saying. So it's important that you have a mentor. First of all, somebody that has a relationship with the Lord, that actually communicates with him, not just CEM, Christmas, Easter, and Mother's Day, but on a consistent one. And we're praying for you, Stefan. I know what that's like to lose your mentor. Praying for you that God bless you and give you strength. It is. And you need a mentor. You need somebody that's already walked away. We can benefit so much from somebody else's. They always tell us that hindsight is 20/20, and it's always good as when you come along, you can benefit from somebody else's hindsight. And it helps you avoid those landmines in the road, things that and that's what I hope that I'm doing, is sharing what I've learned on my own and from what others have given me, that I implemented in my musical life to help you avoid various things. So you get a jump ahead. I don't care, because I realize, no matter how much I give out, that doesn't erase who I am. It actually makes room for me to gather more. Okay. So, and then it's also good for you to have somebody that you're mentoring. So it's almost like somebody's pouring into you, then you turn around and pour into somebody else. And that's a way of paying it forward. I learned, I have wisdom, I learned, and I turned and I poured into somebody else. And you'd be surprised. It changes you on the inside when you start being a mentor to somebody else. And then it makes you a little more conscious and makes you grow. It actually helps you to mature faster, because now somebody's pointing at me, but now I got to give it to somebody else. I have to be careful what I translate and what I say. I have to be careful how I live, how I act, because what I do affects them, and you don't want to affect anybody negatively. You know what I'm saying? You don't want to be a negative impression on somebody. You want to encourage them to do better. I want you to jump over me and surpass what I'm doing. And then while you up there, you all this, that, and that, just remember me and throw me a couple bucks down there and say, here, let me bless you for what you did. That's all. And because that's what I do for the people that mentor me. I bless them. And, you know, I tell them, and they're like, you don't have to do. No, I need to do this because you poured into me. Okay, so let's do that. You be mentored, and then you turn around and mentor somebody else. And my last point is we have to learn to be prayerful and flexible. That's a very hard thing. Prayerful is not so hard, but being flexible, that's the hard part, is being flexible, because, you know, we have it in our mind. This is the way it should go. I have my rehearsal. I have a concert coming up. I have my rehearsal. I worked on 10 songs. We went over this. This is what we're supposed to do. We're going to sing 10 songs in 2 hours. And this is the blah, 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 blah. You know, you have to be flexible. No matter how you perfectly plan that concert, something is just going to always come up. And you have to be able to say, okay, it is, we'll work with it. You know, event that I just had not too long ago. Hey, Mari, actually one of the organists is on now, Mari. Whereas I had this whole list of songs I gave the musicians. I'm like, this is what we're going to sing. I had a whole list of songs. We're going to sing this first, second, third. But, you know, I had them all lined up. They were all ready. They had the tracks ready and, you know, whatever. But at the event, we had to change and do something different. So always be flexible. Doesn't necessarily mean, you know, we didn't even sing a couple of songs that I had on the list. Doesn't matter. Be flexible. Doesn't take anything away from you. It actually shows something in you that you can adapt to the situation. And as a leader, you have to be able to adapt to various situations, because you got people following you. They're going to do exactly what you're going to tell them to do. And, you know, and even though it's a great feeling, even though it's wrong, but I have a tendency, when I teach parts, I have a tendency to teach on the first inversion. Okay, you have the root chord, and then you have the first inversion. I have a tendency to do that. And one of the choirs that I managed, it was funny, but it was sad, but it was funny. But I was trying to get, you know, through the song so fast. But they were singing it wrong, but they were following me, and it was wrong, but they were following me. Whatever I said, they were just, you know, which was a good feeling, which meant that everybody was following me, even though I was wrong. And so the audience, if they had heard it, they wouldn't have known we were wrong. They wouldn't have known it was too loud. They would have like, ooh, they really singing. No, actually, you know, but they follow. So when you're doing that, when you're flexible and they see your spirit, they pick up your spirit from you, they'll flow with you. They'll have confidence in you, knowing that, okay, no matter what happens in this ordeal, they're going to fix it. We just follow them, and we're going to come out all right. Okay, those are the next 5 that I had. Number 1, do not vent on the choir. They don't know what's going on with you. Choir rehearsal is not your vent place. You don't take it out on them. You get it straight first, and then you come to rehearsal and bless the people. Number 2, be consistent in whatever you do. When you're teaching your choir, when you're working with your musicians, be consistent. Number 3, take a vacation. Get some rest. Vacation, nothing wrong with it. Number 4, be mentored by somebody. Like I said, not necessarily a renowned person, but someone who has a relationship with God, who is filled with wisdom that can help you. And the last one, be prayerful and flexible. I already gave you a dissertation on that. There's no need to review that. But just remain prayerful and flexible. Thank you all for being with me on tonight. Love each and every one of you, and peace.